In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to convert your data from long data into wide data. So to do this, I want to work with a specific data set that is in tidyverse. So I'm going to run that real quick, and then I'm going to pull up chick weight. And so this needs to be capitalized, the chick and the weight needs to be capitalized to pull this up. And so basically, what this does is it gives us weight data on different chicks that were fed different diets. So you can see we have diet 1 through 4 here, and then they were weighed at different days. They were weighed at day 0 of going on the diet, and then they were weighed up to day 21 and every 2 days in between there. So that's what this data set looks like. So what I want to do is right now, this is in a long format. If I wanted to see how many pounds did they gain from day 0 to day 20, this would be pretty difficult to do within this format. But it'd be really easy to do if we had a column for day 0 and a column for day 20. So that's what we want to be able to do. Now, before we actually convert this data into wide data, you really want to think about the type of data you have in here. And does that data make sense as a column name? So for example, all of this is numerical data. And if we just had a numerical column named 0, it's going to be really difficult to start accessing that column because it's a numerical value. So R is going to look at it as a numerical value instead of as a column name. This would be the same thing if your data set has spaces in it. You want to make sure that you're substituting out those spaces, and you can check out this video above if you don't know how to do that, so that when you convert it into a column name, it will still work and you'll still be able to access it a lot easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add on a character set before the number so that it's a lot easier for R to recognize it as a column name. So to do that, I'm going to real quick set this to DF so that I'm working with DF. And I'll just pull this up here. I always like to look at my tables when I'm writing code on them. So then I'm going to do DF time. And what I want to do is basically add on day before the number. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use paste. And so paste is basically a way to concatenate series of characters together. So I'm going to add on day, and then I'm going to put in df time so that it'll just put in that number that's there. And then the last thing you want to do is add in a separator. So paste automatically works off of your separator being a space. So I just want to show you what this looks like. So you can see there's now a space between day and 0. So that's going to make it difficult when I'm trying to work with it as a column. So what I'm going to do instead is real quick, I'm going to reset df so that it doesn't redo this a second time. And then I'm going to set my separator equal to nothing. So when I do that and I run it, you can see there's now no space between day and the 0. So yay, our data is in the correct format to now go through going into wide data. So to go to wide data, I'm going to just use dplyR's pipe. So basically it will plug this data set in. And what I'm going to use is spread. And I want to real quick show you what spread looks like. So this is how you call a help menu. It's just a question mark and then the function you're using. So spread is going to take in a data. And so we're doing that through the pipe function. It's telling it the data set already. And then we're going to give it a key and a value. And so what our key and value means is the key is going to be what your column names are. And then your value is going to be column do you want us to put in its corresponding row. And so that's what we're going to do here. And then we have several other things. So fill. So if there's no row with that information in it, we're just going to fill it with an NA and things like that. So I'm going to exit out of this real quick. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So we're going to do spread. Our data is coming in through this pipe. So we don't need to put that in. We need to put our key and our value in. So our key is going to be, so that's going to take each one of these and convert it into a column. And then what value do we want in there? What we want in there is our weight. We want to be able to see our weight through time. So then we can add in weight as our value there. So I'm going to press Shift Enter to run this. So now you can see we have the chick, the diet it's on, and then its weight through all of these different days. So this specific one wasn't recorded on day 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So now what we can do is we can create a new column that takes the weight at day 20 and subtracts it from the weight at day 0. So we can do mutate to do that. And we're going to say day, or we're going to say weight change equals day 20 minus day 0. So you can see here that anything that had an NA at day 0, which means it wasn't weighed, is going to get an NA in the weight change, which makes sense. All the other ones are just showing us the difference between those 2 days. So now what we could do is we could actually do a percent change as well. So we're going to do day 20 minus day 0 divided by day 20, and we're going to multiply times 100. And so now we have this. So we can see that, and then we can actually just group by the diet. And I'm going to summarize. I want the mean of weight change, and I'm going to set this to, I'm just going to do weight change equals mean of weight change, percent change equals mean of percent change. And then I almost always do an N so that I have a good idea of what my sample size is. So when I'm doing that, you can see that for this, it had NAs in it. So what we want to do is before we do our group by, we're going to do drop NA weight change and rerun it. So now we get all of this data. So we can see that the group that had the most weight change would be diet 3. So this basically gives us the ability to access this data in a wide format so that we can actually manipulate between columns. I hope this was really helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.